Everyone. I am actually still at school. We are having open house tonight for our parents. So I am still here, and I figured tonight was a great night to talk about Stella Adler because I really took a lot from reading both chapters on Stella Adler and found a lot of actually inspiration from her. And I'm looking forward to using a lot of her techniques in my classes. So the first thing that I really took away was Adler's assumption that physicality or physical movement can initiate or almost release movement, release emotion. I was a body worker for many years, being an occupational therapist, and I did different kinds of body work, and oftentimes emotions would come up in my patients when they engaged in certain movements, and it elicited a definite memory in them, that tissue memory, that muscle memory, and that really resonated me with Adler's work. Was just moving sometimes can bring you into that space that you need to be. It's not like you have to go back into that whole mindset of remembering everything and all the little details, but just having that motion or that movement would elicit a memory, an emotion. Sometimes it would be hysterical laughter I would get when I would work with people, and sometimes it would be tears. Sometimes it would just be a realization, which was really cool to see. So I love that description from Adler about muscle memory and about the physicality releasing emotion. I thought that that was really a very important point, and one that I think is actually easier for middle schoolers or high schoolers to access versus some of that more, let's go to these deep darker places or these other places that might be a little bit even scary to go, or that they just don't have enough life experience to get to. So I really enjoyed that. I also really liked the muscle control um, activity, just isolating that one muscle group or that one part of your body, even in just very micro movements, to really make things look real, that kind of reality of doing and doing in such a very specific way. When I did Broadway camp this summer in New York City at Open Jar Studios, we did heightened mannerisms. So somebody came in, I'm totally forgetting his name, but it was a wonderful workshop about heightened mannerisms and going through daily activities in those very specific ways and putting it to movement so it's coordinated to movement and music. And I found that workshop so helpful and so amazing in getting into that space of awareness of what we do every day. I think when we're in the reality of doing, we forget actually what goes into that. So, kind of retracing our steps, I think, is a really good thing. I just put character afflictions on my wheel of games. I have a wheel of games that I do with my students. So we spin the wheel, and whatever game comes up, they play. And actually, it landed on character afflictions. And so somebody would get in the middle, and somebody in the group would give them an affliction, and they had to act that out with their body in very specific ways. So we kind of really honed it in. Like if you sprained your ankle, what would that look like? If you sprained your wrist, or you broke your wrist, or you had a headache, or you were nauseous. So we really went into what types of things would happen. What would happen with your face? What would happen with that specific part of the body? Can you isolate that part of the body? And the kids found it challenging, but they actually really enjoyed it. I think my middle schools right now are enjoying everything, which is really nice. I'm going to knock on everything that I just said that, but they really are enjoying the classes. I also really appreciated the turn back to improvisation. And I know I've said this before, but I return constantly to Spolin's book and her work, and using that to create reality and to create realistic scenes and to tell a story. So I really enjoyed that. My kids actually I just started letting them this cycle pick an improv, or if an improv game comes up on the wheel of games, they can play it. So today actually we did Party Quirks, and it went way better than I thought it would. These were my eighth graders who had me in seventh grade. So they were actually really good at creating very realistic characters that the host got it within about 3 minutes. So I was really proud of them for that. So I really appreciated the improvisation piece and going back to that as part of the technique. And then I really loved the part where Adler talked about watching animals, and that's something that I think my kids could absolutely do. I loved the puppy energy, and to create that distracted characters. So if you're somebody who's hyper focused all the time, how do you create a distracted character? And I love observation. I use that a lot with my students. I ask them to look around, look in the cafeteria, go to the mall, go to Starbucks, watch people. Don't do it creepily. I always say that. We don't want to creepily look at people, but observe people. Kind of take a glance, see what you see, jot down notes, take notes about what you see out there. But I loved the animals. I love doing animal walks with my kids, but I really like just observing them and kind of taking notes. And then in the second reading, I really would love to actually go visit the Adler Conservatory, especially since it's aligned with Tisch right now. And the one point that I really took away from this was when the author said that the people that were involved with Adler and who were students of Adler said you just kind of had to be there. They couldn't really describe or even really put into words what she did or how she taught, but you just had to be there because there were so many examples. And I know for me, when I teach, I give so many examples. I used to teach master students about sensory integration, especially with children on the spectrum, and how to implement different strategies. And I would always give examples, and they were never the same. And, no matter how I tried to keep my lectures consistent, I would always go off script and, kind of improvise, as you will. And you get these nuggets that would come out that you really don't replicate. So I really loved that point of view on Adler, that you wished you were there. I wished I was there to kind of get it right from the source. So that was really great. And the last thing was just her adherence to the script and the text, and really honoring the playwright by bringing the actors into the play, but also telling the actors that the play is in them, that they are one, they are part of it, it is part of them. And I really appreciated that. I write, and just to have somebody honor another person's words, I think is very, very important. So overall, I really enjoyed these two chapters, and I actually really want to do more research into Adler. So I'm looking forward to doing that and creating an annotated bibliography, literary review, and even our paper on the group. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope everybody has a fabulous weekend.